the end there. All right, so without further ado, I might throw to Paul just to take us through some of the departures and see if we all fit in the screen here. Well, we just fit. Some of the departures from the Cats. What a graphic. How good.
Nice.
We're a polished operation here, and we're farewelling 8 different players in style here. Sammy Silk, Simpson, Flynn Kroger, Cooper White, Oscar Riccardi, Isaac Smith with a retirement and 4 premierships, Sammy Menegola, Jonathan Segler, and Asava Radaglia off to Port. It feels like more departures than we've had in previous years. I don't know. It's a weird one. Just off the top of the head, it felt like a bigger cull than previous years, but then when you look at it and you go, it's only 8. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a bit of misremembering. I don't know. Sad to see them all go, though. I think for me specifically, Sam, Isaac, and both Sam, and Isaac Smith are probably the biggest departures and most impactful to the actual on-field performance.
What do you reckon, Jake? Who are you most sad from this group to farewell? We'll probably see a bit of Oscar Riccardi again because he's running around the VFL, but who of this group do you reckon?
Honestly, like Jonathan Segler, long time, big fan of the Segs machine. Flynn Kroger, I would say. I know that sounds weird, but I really liked watching Flynn Kroger the couple of games he managed last year in the VFL. He had absolutely horror-stricken sort of injury run in his time at the Cattery, but the couple of times he actually got back on the field at the end of last year, I sort of thought you could see what the Cats saw in him. Really sort of powerful body. And I sort of liked the idea of him coming in, this year or next as sort of like a Jake Collar-Jasny, challenger, I guess, someone to push someone like Collar or Buse or those sort of guys for a spot. A bit sad to see him go, but I guess that's just the way of it.
What about you, Johnny?
Definitely sad to see Isaac Smith go, but also not surprised that he did retire. He had a great time at the Cats. Obviously, 4 premierships, 3 with the some other team that we're not going to mention here. And probably Sam Menegola as well. He helped the Cats get through a big period there from 2011 or whenever he came in till 2022. So he was a pretty big contributor for the Cats for a long time. So it's unfortunate he missed out on a premiership, but he still had a major impact for the Cats. So he'll be definitely missed by me as well.
Yeah, look, for me, it's probably a guy who hasn't played in the senior team, but someone we were excited to see was Oscar Riccardi. I really hope that we'd get a chance to see him run around. We'll still get to see him in the VFL, and maybe that's not the end of the road for him, but he'll get another opportunity. Let's hope. But yeah, we had him on Paul's show, Behind the Play. Would have been a year ago, Paul, almost to the day.
Yeah,
really.
I think we're talking kind of late pre-season. Last year.
If you're new to this channel, we'll always throw in a plug or two for a show here or there. And if you stay to the end, you're getting a whole bunch of plugs. All right, Jake, take us through some of the arrivals to the Cats this year. And again, another fantastic graphic.
Yeah, so I know this is just feel like I'm in I'm in the arrival. Is there an arrivals lounge? I don't do a lot of plane travel. I'm in a departures lounge, but that's just where we were. I had a few too many at the departure lounge, but we're arriving now. Connor O'Sullivan comes in, Mark Blixarves 2.0, George Stevens, Oliver Wiltshire.
Kicked 4 goals in the first half. Did.
I know, 4-goal Ollie. Sean Manor comes over from Werribee. Lawson Humphreys, Mitch Edwards, Joe Furphy, who would have one of the greatest footy card faces of all time, and Emerson Jecker. So those are the 8 who come in via arrivals.
Who of that 8 do you think is going to don the hoops in the senior team first?
Sean Manor, for me. I just think he's sort of ready to come in and have an immediate impact. He's not, he doesn't have to put in that off season or multiple off seasons of work to get his body up to the level of the physicality. So I sort of think Sean Manor was brought in to be an immediate sort of fringe player to help top up the depth. And I think out of those, I'd say he's the one I think's most likely to get straight into the side if that were to happen.
Good idea. Yeah, it's a possibility with Guthrie going in. Not that it's a like-for-like replacement, but maybe someone sort of spends a bit more time forward and in the midfield and one of the forwards, and then I think Mannor's more of a forward mid, isn't he? Anyway, Johnny, which one of these crew, pun intended, which one of these guys are you most excited to see? I'm personally hearing good things about Connor O'Sullivan and Lawson Humphreys, but what about you?
Pretty excited to see what George Stevens brings. I've seen a little bit about him. He seems pretty passionate about the club. Been around, I think it was St. Joey's growing up, and had the players come visit the school, and that really inspired him. And now he's doing that. So he's got that real Geelong feel about him, that he's ready to put all his effort into the Cats. So when he gets his debut, I think he's going to just play his absolute skin out and do everything he can to impress everyone and cement a spot. So yeah, I think George Stevens for me would be one I'll be really looking forward to.
I reckon he'll get a game this year. Paul, Emerson Jacka, we got rid of 3 Hawthorn blokes on the previous slide last year. We've brought in another one. What do you think of Emerson Jacka? But also, who are you most excited about to see from this crew?
I mean, it was a great point. It was great to be seeing the back of a few Hawthorn blokes. The less of them around the club, the better. But Emerson Jacka comes in. Look, I mean, he fulfills a need, I think, in terms of, I guess, that next generation coming through in some of those key position roles. Whether he's a long-term prospect, I guess, is a whole other thing. We'll have to just wait and see how he kind of develops within the VFL and then if he gets opportunities at the senior level. For, I guess, amongst the rest, and to kind of address the George Stevens one, I'd heard the name pop up a few times in and around draft time from people at other clubs kind of giving me some of their thoughts. But also then chatting to some of the boys when that day that Ben and I drifted down to go and check out training and chat to some of the boys afterwards. And his was a name that kept coming up quite a lot simply because, I guess of what you guys were saying, where like that effort you can't question, and then he's just got this big frame. The big question mark I think against him was always going to be speed, but he seemed to have trimmed down a little bit. That was one of the first observations that you and I, Ben, first made initially. Is, from what you saw in the footage from his draft year to what we were seeing in that preseason, you could already see he clearly spent a lot of time on the treadmill and kind of, I guess, dropping any potential quote unquote puppy fat, just to get himself in that kind of fighting fit condition. And if you can add to that with the fact that he's already got kind of a great build for an inside midfield bull, he could be great. And yeah, hopefully he does get an opportunity this year. But for me, from that group, I mean, Sean Manor will be first, I think. But it would be good to see Connor O'Sullivan get a gig this year. You feel like the opportunity is there if he wants to take it. And I feel like, again, everything we're hearing is positive. I don't know. I feel like there's 2 kind of obvious standouts, but I think about the Mitch Edwardses and those. I mean, if things kind of align, we know that we've obviously lost John O'Segler now. Reece Stanley is injury prone, as has been Big Toby Conway for the early stage of his career. You kind of never know how the skies might part, and it just kind of gives Mitch Edwards an opportunity that maybe he doesn't necessarily deserve at that point. And I don't mean that like a really negative, snarky sort of way, but maybe he hasn't necessarily earned the stripes yet. But the skies might part. He gets an opportunity and lights it up, and that'd be awesome too.
Yeah, I think he's down the order a little bit for me. For me, the two, I think it'll be Sean Manor that goes first of the new arrivals, I should say. Connor O'Sullivan, I thought was going to be ready to go, but because he played in the VFL last week, maybe they're just saving him a little bit longer. Could be could be one of those second-year players though. That it won't be. I don't think they'll be jumping ahead of this crop, but maybe Phoenix. He's a bit of injury at the moment, so he might have a bit of a delayed start to the season, maybe. But look, I'm excited about that crop. I think they're going to go okay. I think there'll be opportunities this year. A lot of player management. You imagine. I think with George Stevens, maybe that'll be one. If Danger gets rested, that might be his chance if he's going well enough in the VFL. Another midfield bull to step in there, possibly.
Well, you've got Jai to contend with as well, though.
Yeah, too. Jai's there. Different. Yeah, is he big enough? I don't know. Yeah, there's so many players to fit in, and if everyone's fit, which they seem to be for the most part at the moment, yeah, who knows?